Beauty is in truth. No mud, no lotus. Let that sink in for a moment. We live in a world that worships beauty. Perfect faces, perfect bodies, perfect lives displayed on screens. But here's the truth. Beauty can lie. Beauty can distract. What looks flawless on the outside often hides pain, struggle, and brokenness on the inside. And yet the very thing we often run from, the mud, the struggle, the darkness, is where the real transformation begins. Think of the lotus flower, one of the most admired symbols of purity and enlightenment. But where does it grow? Not in crystal clear water, not in polished gardens, but in thick, dirty, muddy swamps. Without the mud, there is no lotus. Without struggle, there is no strength. Without truth, beauty is just a mask. In this video, we are going to uncover the difference between beauty and truth. You'll see why real growth is never comfortable, why struggle is not your enemy, and why the mud you're in today may be shaping your greatest tomorrow. Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover here might change the way you see your pain, your challenges, and even your idea of success. This isn't just about a flower, it's about your life, your story, and the reminder that true beauty is never born in comfort. It rises from the mud. Now let's go deeper into this powerful truth. Beauty is often the first thing our eyes notice. It captures attention, it sparks desire, and it can even make us believe in possibilities that aren't real. Beauty is what we see on the surface. It is the polished image, the graceful smile, the well-arranged picture. But truth is different. Truth is rarely easy to spot at first glance. It is often hidden beneath layers of discomfort, vulnerability, and imperfection. The challenge is that beauty doesn't always carry truth, and truth doesn't always look beautiful. That's why so many people chase appearances, only to feel empty when they discover what lies beneath them. When you stop and reflect, you realize how many times beauty has fooled us. A relationship that looked perfect from the outside but was built on lies. A lifestyle that seemed attractive but left someone broken behind the scenes. An opportunity that looked glamorous but drained every ounce of peace. Beauty shines bright, but truth asks you to look deeper. Truth might not always be attractive, but it is solid, unshakable, and real. It is the ground you can stand on when everything else collapses. Society, however, has trained us to worship surface beauty. Social media feeds us flawless faces, luxury cars, and dream vacations, convincing us that perfection is the ultimate goal. Advertisements tell us that if we look beautiful, we will feel fulfilled. Movies and shows glamorize the perfect body, the perfect house, the perfect life. But appearances are only one layer, and that layer is fragile. What is presented to us is often edited, filtered, and carefully staged. We compare our truth, with all its flaws and struggles, to someone else's polished version of beauty, and in doing so, we forget that what is real is not always glamorous. The illusion of surface beauty is powerful because it creates desire. It makes us want to fit into the mold, to look good, to appear successful. But illusions never last forever. At some point, the makeup comes off, the filter fades, the stage smile cracks, and the truth slips out. And sometimes the truth is painful. Sometimes it is disappointing. But unlike beauty, truth doesn't vanish. It stays. It teaches. It transforms. Think about nature. A flower may look beautiful, but its beauty is temporary. The petals fall, the color fades, the fragrance disappears. The truth of the flower, however, lies in its cycle of life, in its roots buried in the soil, in its struggle to push through dirt and sunlight to bloom again. The beauty is fleeting, but the truth of its process is what sustains it. In the same way, human lives can look perfect on the surface. Smiles, clothes, and material possessions paint one picture. But truth reveals itself in how we handle struggle, in the lessons we carry, and in the strength we build from pain. The reason surface beauty is so deceptive is because it offers instant satisfaction. It's easy to believe in something that looks good. It feels good to be admired, to be liked, to be chosen because of how we appear. But when we confuse beauty with truth, we set ourselves up for disappointment. A beautiful lie will eventually hurt more than an ugly truth, because an ugly truth, no matter how hard it is to face, still leads us to growth. It brings clarity. It forces us to build on something real. What is often hidden is what truly matters. A person may look ordinary yet carry wisdom that changes lives. A moment that feels heavy and painful may actually be shaping your greatest strength. Truth is often not decorated, not celebrated, and not glamorous. But truth is powerful. It is the foundation where everything lasting is built. Beauty can attract attention, but truth earns respect. Beauty can make you smile for a moment, but truth can transform who you are forever. So while society tells us to chase beauty, the deeper calling is to seek truth. Because not everything beautiful is real, and not everything real is beautiful. What is real may come wrapped in struggle, hardship, or imperfection, but it will outlast every false image and every illusion. And when beauty fades, truth remains. The lotus flower has been admired for centuries, not only for its beauty, but for the powerful message it carries. In many cultures, the lotus is more than just a plant. It is a sacred symbol of purity, transformation, and spiritual awakening. Its image appears in ancient scriptures, in temples, and in works of art, always carrying the same reminder: from the dirtiest waters, something pure and radiant can bloom. The lotus does not grow in clear, polished lakes. It rises only from the mud, from the murky waters where most flowers could never survive. And yet that very mud becomes the foundation for its strength. This is why the lotus holds such deep meaning. It shows us that purity is not found by avoiding the mud of life, but by rising through it. Its journey begins hidden beneath darkness, surrounded by dirt and decay. Slowly it pushes upward, seeking the light. And when it finally blooms on the surface, untouched by the mud below, it carries with it a story of resilience. That story reflects our own lives. We may find ourselves in muddy seasons, filled with challenges, heartbreaks, and setbacks, but these are not the end. They are the conditions that prepare us to rise stronger. Without mud, there is no lotus. Without struggle, there is no growth. Struggles are not punishments. They are teachers. They shape our character in ways comfort never could. Think about it. When life is easy, we rarely stop to reflect or push ourselves to grow. We stay where we are because nothing forces us to move. But when hardship enters, when pain disrupts our peace, we are confronted with choices. We either break under pressure or we rise like the lotus, using the mud as fuel to reach something higher. Pain has a strange way of stripping away illusions, forcing us to discover our inner strength and clarity. Failures, too, carry hidden value. Each mistake becomes a lesson, each setback a seed of wisdom. Just as the soil nourishes a plant, our struggles nourish our character. They prepare us for opportunities we couldn't handle before. They deepen our understanding of ourselves and of life. Without pain, wisdom stays shallow. Without hardship, resilience never forms. It is the breaking, the falling, and the rebuilding that create depth. The lotus reminds us that beauty without a story of struggle is fragile. What makes the flower powerful is not only its petals, but the mud it overcame. In the same way, what makes a person strong is not their success alone, but the failures they endured along the way. Struggle gives us perspective. It teaches empathy because when you face your own battles, you can understand the pain of others. It teaches patience because real growth takes time. And it teaches endurance because the mud does not vanish overnight. It takes persistence to rise above it. Too often, people try to escape their struggles, hoping for a life free of challenges. But a life without challenges is a life without depth. If everything came easily, we would never know our true strength. Just as muscles grow only when tested with resistance, our spirit grows only when pressed by struggle. The muddy seasons of life are not wasted. They are where roots grow deep. The story of the lotus is a reminder that no matter how dark or messy your environment may seem, it does not define your destiny. The mud is part of your journey, but it is not your identity. What defines you is your ability to rise from it, to bloom despite it, and to shine above it. The lotus shows us that struggle is not something to avoid, but something to embrace. For it is in the mud where the seeds of awakening, strength, and true beauty are planted. Finding value in the mud moments of life is not easy, but it is necessary. The mud represents the darkest times we go through, those periods of rejection, deep loss, or painful mistakes. These are the moments most people wish to erase, yet they carry lessons we cannot find anywhere else. Rejection teaches us what is not meant for us, and in time it redirects us toward better paths. Loss shows us the depth of love and the reality of impermanence, teaching us to cherish what we have while we have it. Mistakes humble us, reminding us that we are human and that growth often comes through trial and error. When we are in the middle of these muddy moments, it feels heavy and endless. But looking back, those same struggles often become the foundation of wisdom, courage, and self-discovery. The mud is not meant to destroy us. It is meant to prepare us. Just as the lotus cannot bloom without the mud, we cannot reach our highest potential without first enduring hardship. Many people run from pain, trying to cover it up or pretend it isn't there. But avoiding the mud means avoiding the very soil that allows transformation. It is in our darkest hours that resilience begins to take root. When everything seems broken, we are forced to look inward, and it is there we discover strength we never knew we had. The mud becomes a silent teacher, shaping us into stronger, wiser, more compassionate beings. In contrast to these difficult but valuable lessons, society often tries to distract us with outer beauty. Outer beauty is what people see: the polished smile, the fashionable clothes, the carefully managed appearance. It is pleasing to the eye and can capture attention, but it is temporary. With time, outer beauty fades. No matter how much we fight against it, youth does not stay forever, and appearances are always vulnerable to change. Building life on surface beauty is like building a house on sand. It looks solid for a while, but it cannot withstand storms. Inner beauty, however, is different. Inner beauty is not dependent on flawless skin or perfect features. It is shaped by truth, resilience, and character. It grows stronger with each challenge because every muddy moment adds depth to it. Inner beauty cannot be destroyed by age, circumstance, or loss. It shines through kindness, integrity, and authenticity. This is why some people leave a lasting impact on us, not because they look perfect, but because their presence carried depth and honesty. The danger of focusing only on outer beauty is that it leaves us hollow. When everything is about how we look, we forget who we are. We chase validation from others instead of seeking truth within ourselves. The result is a fragile identity that shatters the moment appearances change or approval fades. Truth, on the other hand, builds a foundation that lasts. It may not always be glamorous or comfortable, but it gives depth to life. It allows us to connect on a level that goes beyond appearance. True beauty is not just about how something looks. It is about the story it carries. A scar may not be attractive in the traditional sense, but it tells a story of survival. Wrinkles may not be admired by everyone, but they speak of time lived, lessons learned, and wisdom gained. A kind act may not be seen by the world, but it creates ripples far greater than any surface charm. This is the kind of beauty that endures, the kind built through truth and resilience. So when we find ourselves in muddy seasons, we must remember that these are not wasted chapters. The rejection, the loss, the mistakes, they are shaping our inner beauty in ways that nothing else can. Outer beauty will always fade, but inner beauty grows stronger through every storm. The mud may be messy, but within it lies the power to create depth, authenticity, and a beauty that never disappears. Society has built an obsession with beauty so deep that most people don't even notice how controlled they are by it. From the moment we open our eyes in the morning, advertisements and screens flood us with images of flawless skin, toned bodies, and picture-perfect lifestyles. The message is clear. Beauty equals value, beauty equals happiness, beauty equals success. Entire industries thrive by making people believe they are not enough unless they look a certain way. It becomes a chase, a never-ending pursuit of something that can never fully satisfy. Because no matter how much beauty one achieves, there is always a new standard, a new comparison, a new way to feel inadequate. This obsession is dangerous because it promises fulfillment, but delivers emptiness. People spend so much time polishing the outside that they forget to nurture the inside. They may look perfect, but inside they are fragile, insecure, and unsatisfied. Chasing only beauty creates a shallow life because beauty fades and external validation never lasts. The applause dies down, the admiration shifts to someone newer, and suddenly the emptiness grows. Truth, however, is different. Truth doesn't shine in the same glamorous way beauty does. It is not always comfortable or easy to face. Sometimes truth reveals flaws, struggles, or realities we would rather hide. But truth, once embraced, gives lasting fulfillment. It grounds us. It builds depth that no mirror or photograph can reflect. Truth allows us to live with authenticity, while beauty alone forces us to constantly wear masks. This is where the lotus becomes a powerful reminder. Just as the lotus cannot bloom without mud, transformation in human life does not happen without pain. Struggles are not signs of weakness, they are the soil where growth begins. Think about it. Every failure, every heartbreak, every moment of rejection carries within it a seed of transformation. Just as the mud feeds the lotus, pain feeds our growth. It forces us to face ourselves, to let go of illusions, and to rise with greater strength. Pain is not glamorous. Struggle is not something anyone desires. But transformation rarely happens in comfort. Comfort keeps us the same, trapped in routines and illusions. It is in silence, in the lonely moments where everything feels heavy, that transformation quietly takes place. The seed pushes through darkness before it reaches light. The lotus struggles beneath the water long before it blooms above it. Likewise, we push through unseen struggles, invisible battles, and silent tears before we emerge stronger and wiser. Failures especially hold a strange power. At first they sting, they crush the ego, they bruise the heart, and they make us question our worth. But hidden inside failure is a gift, clarity. Failure strips away false expectations and shows us what doesn't work. It forces us to redirect, to rethink, and to rebuild. Without failure, growth stays shallow. Success without struggle is fragile. It collapses at the first sign of challenge. But success built on pain, failure, and persistence becomes unshakable. It is rooted deeply, just like the lotus rooted in the mud. Transformation through pain also brings humility. It reminds us that life is not about appearing flawless, but about becoming real. It allows us to connect with others in genuine ways, because when you've known pain, you can recognize it in someone else's eyes. It breaks the obsession with surface beauty because you realize what truly matters is not how something looks, but how it survives, how it grows, how it endures. Society may keep telling us to chase beauty, but the deeper calling is to embrace truth and accept the role of pain in transformation. The mud of life, though uncomfortable, is the birthplace of strength. Every rejection becomes redirection, every failure a seed, every struggle a step toward awakening. Just as the lotus rises silently from the mud, we too rise silently through our pain, stronger, deeper, and more beautiful than surface appearances could ever reveal. Courage to face truth is one of the hardest strengths a person can develop. Truth is not always gentle. It doesn't always flatter us or make us feel comfortable. More often it unsettles us because it shines light on flaws we would rather ignore, on mistakes we would rather hide, and on struggles we would rather escape. Facing truth means standing in front of a mirror that shows us not only our strengths but also our weaknesses. It requires honesty with ourselves, and honesty takes courage. Many people spend their lives running from truth, covering it with distractions, with appearances, or with denial. But nothing changes when truth is avoided. Growth begins the moment we dare to face reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. It takes courage to admit that we are not perfect. It takes courage to acknowledge that we have failed, hurt others, or betrayed our own values. But this courage is powerful because when we face the truth, we take back control. The very flaws we feared become the starting point for transformation. Struggles stop being prisons and start becoming stepping stones. When we refuse to face truth, we remain stuck in illusions. When we embrace it, we begin to rise above it. This kind of courage is rare because it demands vulnerability. To face truth, you must be willing to see yourself stripped of masks, stripped of excuses, and stripped of pretense. Yet, the paradox is that vulnerability gives strength. The moment we accept our flaws, they no longer control us. The moment we confront our struggles, they begin to lose their power over us. Truth is uncomfortable, but within that discomfort lies the seed of freedom. Once truth is faced, it changes the way we view success. Society often sells success as perfection, the perfect look, the perfect lifestyle, the flawless achievement that sparkles without struggle. But real success is nothing like that. Success is not about appearing perfect. It is not about living a life free of flaws or mistakes. Real success is about overcoming what tried to break you. It is about rising after failure, healing after loss, and pushing forward when everything inside you wanted to quit. The real meaning of success cannot be measured in material possessions or polished images. Those things can be taken away in a moment. The real meaning of success is written in resilience. It is found in the person who was rejected yet kept going. It is in the individual who lost everything but rebuilt piece by piece. It is in the quiet fighter who endured struggles no one else saw but still found a way to stand tall. This kind of success carries a beauty that is not superficial. It is beauty born from truth, the kind that does not fade with time because it is rooted in depth. True beauty and true success are inseparable. They are both born in the mud of hardship and the fire of struggle. A person who has never faced truth may look perfect, but their strength is shallow. A person who has walked through pain, faced their flaws, and risen anyway, carries a presence that cannot be imitated. That presence is real. It is the kind of beauty that inspires, the kind of success that endures. When we begin to see success through this lens, life itself changes. We stop chasing appearances and start embracing experiences. We stop fearing struggle and start respecting it. We stop pretending perfection and start living authentically. And in doing so, we find that success is not something we achieve once and display to others. It is something we build every time we overcome, every time we face truth with courage, and every time we choose to rise instead of stay down. Gratitude for the mud is one of the greatest shifts we can make in life. Most of the time, we see struggles as interruptions, as unfair burdens, or as obstacles that keep us from the happiness we want. We complain about them, we fight against them, and sometimes we even break under the weight of them. But the truth is, the mud is not our enemy. It is our foundation. Without it, we would never grow into who we are meant to be. Every difficulty we have faced, every rejection, every heartbreak, every failure has played a role in shaping us. Looking back, it is often the hardest seasons that taught us the deepest lessons and built the strongest parts of our character. Instead of hating the mud, what if we thanked it? The mud is what gave us resilience. The mud is what forced us to learn patience, humility, and perseverance. It is easy to love the moments when life feels good, when everything is smooth and light, but it is the heavy, messy, muddy moments that shape us into people who can stand tall when storms come again. Without those dark chapters, our story would lack depth. Gratitude for the mud is gratitude for the process that made us stronger. It is an acknowledgement that the very things we thought would break us were actually building us. The lotus does not resist the mud. It does not despise the swamp it grew from. It rises through it, and in rising, it becomes something extraordinary. We can do the same. Instead of seeing our struggles as curses, we can begin to see them as blessings in disguise. We can look at the scars they left behind and realize those scars are proof that we survived. They are marks of growth, not of defeat. The mud is not there to hold us down forever. It is there to give us the strength to rise. When we learn to thank the mud, we no longer feel like victims of life. We begin to feel like students of life. We stop asking why me and start asking what is this teaching me? That one shift changes everything. It gives us power in places where we once felt powerless. It brings purpose to pain, and it allows us to carry gratitude even in seasons of struggle. Gratitude turns mud into meaning. Living with depth begins with this kind of perspective. Depth comes when we stop chasing beauty alone and start seeking truth. Beauty can make life look appealing, but truth makes life feel real. To live with depth means to value substance over surface, to choose growth over comfort, and to prefer honesty over illusion. This is not always easy because truth can be painful. It may reveal flaws, failures, and wounds we would rather cover up. But when we choose truth, we choose strength. We choose authenticity. We choose a life that may not always look perfect, but will always feel meaningful. Chasing beauty alone leaves us empty because beauty only decorates. It does not define. It is truth that shapes us, truth that grounds us, and truth that allows us to live fully. A person may have outer beauty that shines for a while, but without depth, it fades into nothing. A person who carries depth, however, shines in ways that cannot be erased by age, loss, or time. Depth makes relationships real. It makes challenges worthwhile. It makes success meaningful. The mud gives us depth because it connects us with truth. Every painful moment forces us to dig deeper, to uncover strength we didn't know we had, to find clarity in places where we once felt lost. That depth becomes the core of who we are. It becomes the part of us that cannot be taken away. Living with depth means living with gratitude for the beauty we see, but also for the mud that made it possible. Beauty isn't truth. What shines on the surface is temporary, but what comes from struggle is eternal. Real beauty is born from pain, from challenges, from the mud that life throws at us. Without those difficult moments, there can be no strength, no wisdom, no depth. No mud, no lotus. Just as the lotus can't bloom without the dirt that nourishes it, we can't grow without hardship. The mud you face is not there to break you. It's there to shape you, to prepare you for the moment you rise above it all. So embrace your mud. Embrace the parts of your journey that feel heavy and uncomfortable, because hidden inside them is the seed of your greatest transformation. That's where your real beauty lies, not in perfection, but in resilience, truth, and the courage to keep rising. If this message spoke to you, give this video a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful insights. Your support helps us bring you more content to guide and inspire your journey.